And another one in the books. That's right, another fasting week has come to an end. That's right, we are 72 hours into this week's fast. And I am so excited. I am so excited that we've been able to move through this space together. And I'm glad that you're here to join me. You get to see what I'm going to eat for the first time in 72 hours, what my first meal is. Yeah. I'm waiting for it. Hey, welcome. If you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level. We are creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. That means that we're not allowing nothing from outside, nothing from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're showing up with our best selves, our best health, and our best plans for our life. We're going to be successful. And that's where we are right now. Welcome wherever you're joining us from, whether that is LinkedIn or Twitch or YouTube or Facebook. I meant Facebook or here on YouTube. Glad that you are here to join us for this space. And just so excited. We've got some good things that we're going to take a look at. I've got my monitors, of course, that we're going to take a look at. I've got my Keto Mojo, my Contour. Right down below me, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll take a look at and walk through together. See what my numbers are on my continuous glucose monitors, and you get to see, what we are going to eat for the very first time in 72 hours. That's 72 hours. And so today, everything that I have, other than the dressing, by the way, everything I have comes from here at the house. Okay, so we'll talk more about that here in just a minute. So fasting, we're in our fast. If you are there, if you joined us anytime this week, say, I just want you to put in the chat. I want to put that yes. Whether you did it on the first day, the second day, the third day, whether you're doing the entire fast with us, or whether you fasted on another fasting schedule other than the one we were doing. If you were doing a 12 and 12, 16, 8, if you're doing a 20 and 4, if you're doing alternate day fasting, if you fasted this week at all, I want you to just drop yes into the comments, because as you know, all the fasts give some benefit, and we want to applaud you and give you some kudos for those of you who have been fasting with us. Now, the reason I say I want to give kudos, because that means that you have taken advantage, you've taken the reins, and you've decided that I'm going to do something for myself to improve my health and to get me on track to be able to improve my metabolism. So I want to give you some shout outs, some kudos, whatever fasting you did this week. Congratulations. Just go ahead and drop that in the chat. We'd love to come along and see you in the space. Well, I want to do a couple of things. First, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the changes that you've seen, and you've heard me talk about this over the last couple of weeks. We've made some changes to the YouTube channel. We've made it a little bit more streamlined for those of you who are joining us for the first time, those of you who are coming back after being away for a while, or even those of you who are regulars. When you go to the YouTube channel, you'll notice, and the website, by the way, you will notice some changes there, and we've done this deliberately to allow you to be able to jump in and to walk along this journey with us successfully and simply. We want this to be a simple process for you. And so what I've done on the YouTube channel is we've taken away from that main page all of the other videos other than 2 playlists. So when you go to the YouTube channel now, you will notice that there are 2 playlists that will show up. Of course, the video that we are doing right now will show up right up here. That's Hey Fasting, complete fasting with you right now. But if you scroll down on that page, you will see a video playlist that says Start Here. And the Start Here playlist is a curated list of videos that we've done that are the pivotal videos and the milestone videos of concepts that I want you to learn as you are coming alongside of us and as you are walking this journey with us. Okay, so those are the videos there. Start here. If you're sending someone to the channel, you're new to the channel, you saw one of our videos, you want to find out more of what we do on the channel, that's where you start. You come to the channel and hit that playlist and just walk through those videos together. Now, to help you with that, if you click on the description of the playlist right here, you'll see that there is a link down here for a free PDF that you could download. And that PDF walks you through the videos, and it's divided into 4 sections. Just divided into 4 sections, right? Number 1, start with a vision, right? Because you always got to do, if you want to know what you're going to do, let's get a vision. Understand what's really going on in your body with metabolism, what's driving it. That's the second section. Master the tools that actually work, right? That's the third section. And then finally, put it in all together. When you download that video, that PDF also, at the end, the very last page is a limitless living commitment statement where you read through, and there are some statements that you're going to say, I agree to these, and then you're going to sign it at the bottom, put a date, and I recommend that you print that out, put it up on your wall, put it in a frame, put it on your mirror, somewhere in a space where you can look at it every day and say, okay, that's what I'm committing to right now. Okay, so all of that is there on the YouTube channel. And then the second list that you will see when you come here is this list that says this week's videos. So if you have walked through the videos or walked through the playlist, the first one, start here, or you're like, okay, what's going on? What are they doing this week? I want to just jump in and say, what's happening this week? What's the topic that we're talking about? What have they been doing? What have the shows been about? All of the videos that we do for this week will show up in that playlist that says this week's videos, and you get to walk through that. Now, those will change because next week we start a new set of videos. Those will change each week, but if you want to know what's going on this week, it will be those videos there. Now, this is not going to be a list that spans the week. For instance, on Sunday, right, the week video from last week is not going to be there. Okay, it's going to be what starts on Sunday. So that's just this week's videos. So if you want to know what went on last week, you'll have to go back and look at those through the channel. All of the other videos are still there, but we just wanted to streamline that a bit when you come to the channel. The other place that we've done a streamline is if you go to DwainWoodeMD.com. That is our website, and the website is streamlined as well. Reclaim your rhythm. Redefine your life. Welcome to Limitless Living, transforming health, mindset, and identity one intentional step at a time. And I love the visual there, where the guy is standing on a mountaintop and this entire panoramic view of all the possibilities that are there. And that is the idea that Limitless Living gives, that with my decisions, with my choices, with my consistency, the world of possibilities is open to me. So that's the idea. When you come there, that's what I want you to get. That's the vision that I want you to get. And then there is a welcome video to welcome to the YouTube, welcome to the website that you will see there for me. And then scrolling down, it says, are you new here? Start here. And this is the same idea as we saw on the YouTube channel. There is a button that you press and it says start watching the videos, and it will take you back to that playlist. On the other side, download your free guide, and that's the guide I was just talking about. You can download that for free here on the website. If you have been walking with us, if you have been learning with us, if you have been on this journey and you are ready to kick that up a bit, if you're ready to go to the next level, if you're tired of the constant cycle that you've been on with your metabolism, with your blood sugars, with your high blood pressure, cholesterol, your weight, then you want to make sure that you join us in our accelerator. And if you click that button right there, it says find out more, then you can get in there and join us as part of our group. All right, so that's housekeeping stuff. And we'll talk a little bit more. We'll do some welcoming to our community members here in just a minute. But let's go ahead now and let's take a look at blood sugars. And I want to take, first of all, look at what my blood sugars are. And here is my Freestyle Libre. And you see right now my blood sugar is 73. And if I scroll down, you see right here, my blood sugars have been straddling right around 70 or a little higher. If I put my finger, and this is the last 12 hours, by the way, put my finger over that, and you'll see that we can actually see what those numbers have been: 70s, 70s, low 70s, low 70s, and right there about 4, 5, 6 o'clock, up to the 80s, 90s, and then we're starting to come back down now into the 70s, and right where I am at 73. Okay, and so right now, by the way, 72 hours, actually, yep, right at 72 hours is where our fast is for this week. Actually, a little over for 72 hours. And now let's go ahead and take a look at what the Dexcom says. So Dexcom right now says that my blood sugar is 100. And you know, the Dexcom tends to run a little higher than the Libre. But just like we did with the Libre, we can scroll down here. And this is now a 24-hour view that we could take a look at. 80s, 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 and there was some 70s in there. And that was yesterday, by the way. And then into the hundreds, low 100s, right? 112, 112, I think I saw one, yeah, there was a 130 in there somewhere. Yeah, right there, 130. That was at 7:58 this morning. And that, as you guys know, we had a toothpaste issue. So some of what you see right there is what I call my toothpaste effect. Okay, and we talked about that yesterday on our check-in. So if you want to see that, what we talked about, go ahead and pop back over there. All right, so now let's take a look at what's going on with blood sugars according to my monitors. And I've got a Keto Mojo, and then I have a Contour. And once again, if you fasted with us, I see some of you putting in the chat that you fasted. If you fasted at all this week, I want you to put a yes. All right, so I need to grab a strip for the Contour. Get that one in here. And then I need a brown for the Keto Mojo for blood sugar. And let's see, hopefully there's a blue one in here. Okay, yeah, there we go. And that's for ketones. And then, of course, I need to get Lancet. So let's go ahead and put this one back over here. All right, and go ahead and open up the strip for the Keto Mojo. And this is blood sugar, the brown one. We'll get that in here. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead also and open up the one for ketones, because that one tends to give me a little bit of trouble. So we want to make sure we get that out. And it actually opened up relatively well right now. So I'm going to put that off to the side and get one of these Lancets. And as you know, as I've always said, that I don't use the Lansing device. I simply use a Lancet. So I grab that. All right, so there is, and I'll hold it here so you can see that Lancet. And get a finger, and ow, that one hurt a little bit more than normal. So hopefully that gave me a good drop of blood. Okay, yeah, it wasn't very brisk, but it was a good drop. So let's get that on the Keto Mojo. And if you think you know what my ketones are going to be, go ahead and drop that into the chat. Drop that into the chat at 72 hours of fasting. And look at that, my Keto Mojo says that I'm 72 blood sugar. 73 for the Contour, and then 99 you'll see there for the Keto Mojo. Now let me go ahead and take this strip out, and we want to get the ketone strip in there. Let's see, there we are. Get that ketone strip, and then get that started. So what do you think ketones are going to be? Get a good drop of blood to get that rolling. All right, at 72 hours, 6, 5, 2, 1, and it is 1.6. Look at that, 1.6, y'all. And let's go over, I'm going to change to my Keto Mojo app, and let's go ahead and sync that, and we'll talk a little bit about where we are in terms of ketones. And I see some of you are dropping guesses in there already. All right, so let's pull this over. All right, so we're looking at a few numbers, and let's walk through this together. So you'll see three numbers. You'll see the big number in the middle, in the kind of circular thing, and then down below you'll see glucose 72, and then ketones 1.6. When we talk about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. So on your regular day, everybody else. When we check your ketones, right, on a regular basis, your ketones will be less than 0.5 because that's considered normal. In the face of fasting or ketogenic diets or fasting mimicking diets, your ketones should be 0.5, which is higher than normal, to 1.5 if you're in nutritional ketosis, and then above that, 1.6 or higher. Well, more than 1.5, I should say 1.6, because you can have 1.51. That's still above 1.5. Or higher, that would be considered nutritional ketosis. So when we're doing a fasting mimicking diet, when we're doing a ketogenic diet, when we're doing a fasting phase where we're looking to get into ketosis, we want those blood sugars to be or the ketones to be 0.5 or higher. And so that's what you're seeing now at 72 hours. My ketones are 1.6. Now, I would have expected them to be higher, but as I mentioned before, we have our little toothpaste fiasco that causes my blood sugars to spike. And that's what you saw. We started like 70s and we went up into the 90s and 100s this morning. And so that's what you see there. Now let's talk about these numbers here before we look at the graph. So the big number that you see there, that is the glucose ketone index. It is a ratio of the glucose that you see there to the ketones. But if you're looking at that number, you say, hey, if I divide 772 by 1.6, that doesn't come out to be 2.5. And that's because that's also a calculated number. So let's go over and we're going to grab our calculator. And blood sugar was 72. I've got to convert that now to international units by dividing it by 18. So that gives me a 4. And if I take the 4 and divide it by the ketones, now I get the number that you saw there, which was the 2.5. Okay, so that's how that happens. If you are out there, you don't have a meter that converts it for you, you can do the math yourself. If you have a meter that gives you ketones, but it doesn't give you the GKI, you can convert it yourself. It's simply dividing that blood sugar that you have by 18 and then dividing that number by whatever the ketones are. Or you can go online and find a GKI calculator that will do it for you automatically. You just plug the numbers in and then it gives you a number. Now let's take a look at the graph. And so let's talk about a few things. Number one, the turquoise graph that you see, the dotted turquoise line, that's the ketones. And then the solid beige-ish brown line, that's blood sugar. And you'll notice that when the blood sugars are high, that the ketones are low, right? So you have the high beige line, and then you have the low turquoise line. And then as the ketones are going down, right, from here down to here, you see the ketones are going in the opposite direction. So they are actually rising. So let's actually take a look at the numbers. So here's a 105 blood sugar with my ketone at that time was 0.2. And then as my blood sugar went lower, so we were 73 there, then my ketones were 1.8. And then today what we have, let me move over. Today what we have is a blood sugar of 72 and a ketone of 1.6. I think I said, yeah, there you go, 1.6. And so remember, ketones and blood sugar, ketones and insulin can't exist in the same space for long. So once insulin comes out, then ketones begin going away because insulin blunts, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Insulin blunts the effect of ketones, and we don't. So that's the idea. And when we have food that has high carbs, then of course insulin comes out, and when insulin comes out, it causes downstream problems in terms of our fasting and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to push this off to the side, and then let's go over, and I'm going to do a quick check-in. Well, let's do a quick check-in, and we'll talk about where I am, and then hello to our community, and we'll get into our discussion. So let's say, and so check-in. When I do a check-in, 3 things that I want to talk about: how I'm doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. And you heard me say before that these are actually 3 of the domains of health. And the domains of health, if you remember that, there are 8, right? Physical, emotional, spiritual, relational, social, mental, occupational, environmental. So lots of different, those are the domains. And I do talk specifically about these three because these are the three where people tend to have their most difficulties. And in fact, when you're going through the Limitless Living inventory and you're looking at that, three of the main ones that where people mostly have their issues are in these three: physical, mental, and emotional. So they straddle and they encompass a lot of what we do in our lives. So physically, let's talk about that. So in the fast, 72 hours, and today I'm doing better today than I was doing yesterday and the day before because last night I got more rest. If you recall yesterday when I did my check-in, I talked about the fact that I was feeling sleepy and tired, and I had not been doing a good job over the last several days coming into the fast of resting. And then in the fast, I was up doing things, right? You think you can't go to sleep because you have to do stuff. Well, anyway, that was me this week. And so it really impacted me as I went through the week. And the way it impacted me was a lot of food noise this week. A lot of food noise, and we talked about how that's generated and why that comes in our check-in last night. Go ahead and look back at that one. And so, so physically, today I'm doing better. I am not feeling as tired as I was. I am hydrating, continuing to hydrate, and I had my doctor's visit today. As a matter of fact, just coming from that onto the show. And one point that he made to me was, I need to hydrate. We'll talk about that when we do our show on that visit. So so physically doing well, no lightheadedness, dizziness, sweatiness, and those types of things. And then mentally today also doing better. Yesterday, day before, because I was tired, I could tell that I needed to rest. And you know, when you're tired, sometimes you feel just a little bit more sluggish, a little bit more slow than you normally are. And today I feel much better than I did the last couple of days. And then, of course, emotionally, that goes along with how we feel physically and mentally, because the emotional component of our lives is intricately tied to how we're feeling physically and mentally. But today I am feeling good. Yesterday, actually this week, even though I was tired, it was not as problematic because emotionally I was on a high, right? And plus I'm fasting, and the fasting itself gives you that high. Lots of things going on in my family, lots of things going on in my space, going on in my health. So emotionally I was doing well, and that supported me, gave me some additional energy when it came to the physical and the emotional. But make sure that you are doing a good job of those spaces, because if not, then you can run into difficulty and challenges as you are fasting. Okay, so that's what's going on with me. And let's go ahead now, and we're going to say hello to some of our community members. And I see you out there, so let me pull this up. And I see Cornelia. So Cornelia says, yay, congratulations, everybody. That's right. Congratulations. If you are fasting, if you fasted at all with us this week, whether you did a 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, whether you did a 16-8 alternate day, whatever fasting method you did for this week, go ahead and put that in the chat. Say yes, and congratulations to you. Let me give you a hand clap and some music. And I do that because that means that you have decided, you've taken charge of your health. You're making a decision that is going to set you up for long-term success. And you're saying, I'm not going to just be and do things like I've been doing it. I am going to take charge of this and for myself and go where I need to go. So congratulations to you. Yes, Cornelia, congratulations to everyone. And Cornelia says yes, so she fasted with us this week. And I believe, Cornelia, you did the entire fast with us. So congratulations for that. And T-Dub, hey, let me give you a hand clap and for coming through. Thank you for joining us. And if you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments. So everyone who's out there, if you're watching, go ahead and put a new in the. You guys, let's see. Let's go here. And Cornelia says yes. And then T-Dub says yes. fasting with us. And Cornelia was guessing at 2.4, and as you saw, it was a 1.6, right? 2.4 down to 1.6. And then she said toothpaste, right? So, so if you're in the community, you understand the toothpaste. Go back and watch some of those videos. I love it, love it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about fasting. Let's talk about fasting and where we are and what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, and what are the benefits that we get from fasting. So let's see. Let's go here. All right, so let's do that now. All right, so fasting, and let's put this in context. So fasting is a tool. It is a tool that we're using to be able to achieve some of the goals that we want. And the primary goal that we have is that we are using fasting as a way of creating a better metabolism. So dysfunctional metabolism is what is at the driving is in the driving in the driver's wheel for the metabolic diseases that we have. Remember, metabolism is the word that we use to describe the process that the body goes through to take food that we eat and convert it to energy. And the body needs energy. So that process is a metabolic process. And when we talk about metabolism, we're talking about anything that is causing dysfunction in that. Everything from the food that we eat to other things in our lifestyle to how our body interprets the food that we eat and what it does with it downstream and those things that happen as a result of the signals to the body. So that entire thing is called metabolism. And so anything along that way or any problem along that spectrum can cause issues. And underlying all of that is one of the hormones that we use that the body uses really to regulate blood sugar, and that is insulin. So hyperinsulinemia is one of the fundamental issues when it comes to metabolism. And remember, dysregulated metabolism is what drives many of our diseases when we talk about things like blood pressure, cholesterol, obesity, prediabetes, diabetes, so on and so forth. And so we have talked about, in this space, about our Limitless Living Health Action Plan. The Limitless Living Health Action Plan lays out a blueprint, a set of guidelines, a set of parameters that says if I follow this plan, then I am doing what I need to do to right my metabolism and to reverse my disease and improve my health, my metabolic health. On the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, there are 7 pillars. And one of those pillars, one of the tools that we use in that space, one of the tools is fasting. And so fasting is being used as a tool to help us move through the space of being healthy as we right our metabolism. And just like any other tool, if we want to know how that tool works, or if we want to use the tool, we want to understand how the tool works, what are the best practices for the tool, and what are the results that we're expecting from the tool. And so you are here in this space because we are doing a fasting review. We're talking about the tool that we're using to right our metabolism and ultimately to get us the benefit that we need in terms of our health. Okay, so that's where we are. Now, one of the things that I've been saying recently, which ties into our play your own game process, is that if we are simply chasing the number, the A1C, the blood sugar, the weight goal, if we're simply chasing that number, we're missing a big part of the issue. The issue is not the number. Because if you could stay wherever you are right now in terms of your metabolism, and you could live to be 120 years old and you would still be healthy, nobody would care what your numbers are. So the number is a marker, it is a metric, but really that's not what we're heading, right? So the number is a stop on the way to what we're trying to do, and we're trying to create a healthy life that keeps you around as long as possible and keep you as healthy as possible. The goal is not the number. The number is simply a metric. The goal is you being around for your grandkids. The goal is you being around to watch your son or your daughter get married. The goal is for you to be able to spend time with your significant other after you guys have invested so much time in your job, in your careers, and now you're ready to spend time traveling and spending time together and reaping the benefits of all the things that you've been putting into this life. And you want to be able to be healthy to do that. That's the goal. These numbers are metrics along the way to the goal. Now, here's the thing. If we become healthy, all those metrics are simply side effects. We achieve those on the way to being healthy. But we're not stopping there. One of the conversations I have often with our patients who are diabetics is we have now reached your A1C goal. Your A1C is great. What about the blood sugar? What about the blood pressure? What about the weight? Because if it was just about the blood sugar and the A1C, we can stop. But no, we're not just looking at that. How do we keep you around longer and keep you healthy? That's the ultimate goal. And so our fasting falls into the realm of tools that we use to be able to achieve the goal. And on the way to the goal, all the other stuff that we talk about, those are still side effects. And if those are just side effects, can you imagine the benefit we get in being healthy? We're no longer isolated because our hips don't work, or because we've had some complications in our mobility. We don't have to wait anymore for people to come to our house to get us. We can get up and we can go visit our family members, go visit our friends, go do the things we want, because now we are healthy. But if we're not healthy and we go down the path of the complications, we're spending 2-3 days at dialysis. Yeah. We're spending time having difficulty with vision because of retinopathy. We're losing our balance and falling because of neuropathy. We're using walkers and canes. We're having heart attacks and strokes. So our goal is long, healthy life. And on the way to that, man, all this stuff right here, we get better A1Cs, better blood sugars, better blood pressure, better cholesterol. Oh man, it's amazing. So that sets the tone for fasting. So when I talk about fasting, I talk about fasting in a few different ways. But to break it up simply, there are 3 concepts that we want to make sure that we're getting in fasting, and how do we do this well? And they are, how do we prepare for the fast, how do we get through the fast successfully, and then how do we break the fast? So preparing for the fast, getting through the fast successfully, and what's going on in my body, and then how do we break my fast? And you get to see, for me here in just a little while, the things that I'm eating, what I'm going to eat as I break my fast. So I'm excited about that. Okay? All right, so let's go through. Let's start with the very first one. So how do we prepare for the fast? And the ultimate question is, why do we prepare? And we prepare for the fast because how we prepare for the fast determines ultimately the success of the fast. For like anything else in our lives, the way we get ready for it ultimately dictates how successful we are in it. And so as we're going through the fast, It's not just about not eating. So fasting is not just, well, I'm not eating. It is a mindset change. It is a physical change. There are emotional changes. There are biochemical changes that are going on, hormonal changes. All of those things are happening in the body. And if we just jump up one day and say, okay, I'm fasting today, and we've not prepared for the fast well, now you may be able to get through the fast successfully in terms of not eating, but it does not set you up for long-term success, because your body, your brain, your mind is going to remember what this fast was like. And if you go into the fast and you struggle throughout the fast, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I got to eat. Oh, I can't take it anymore. You just barely got through the fast. The next time, your brain's going to say, oh yeah, we're not doing that again. If you didn't hydrate well, you didn't sleep well, and you're having lightheadedness, dizziness, sweatiness, you feel like you're walking through quicksand or mud, or you feel like, oh man, I hit a wall and my energy is gone, then you're not going to successfully get into another fast. And you may not even get through this one. So how we prepare, very important in terms of the success. And you heard me talk a little bit ago about physical, mental, and emotional. Those are three of the domains of health. How are we doing in those spaces? How are we doing in terms of resting? That's physical, right? Resting, hydrating. How are we doing in terms of the foods that we eat coming into the fast? Because if we eat high processed foods, high sugary foods, then in the fast, your body is going to spend a lot more time before it's able to get to the place where you get ketones. And ultimately, remember, ketones mean that the insulin is down, and now my body is able to get to my fat cells and begin burning those. So physically, mentally, the way you approach fasting is important. If I had to grab one of these, physical, mental, and emotional, if I had to pick one and rank them, on the top of that list would be your mental preparation. Because the mental preparation that you have as you come into the fast will dictate how you do physically, how you prepare physically. It will assist you in your emotional regulation during the fast. If we can visualize what the benefits are, if we understand what's going on in our body, if we're able to put in place things that are going to help us as we get into some of those emotional changes that we find in the fast, the lenses through which we see the fast, ultimately important in how the fast goes. And all that happens with our mental preparation. Having mantras around you. One of the things that we talked about is on our website, you can download that start guide, and on the back of the start guide is the information about that limitless living commitment statement that you do, because those types of things are ultimately important, because they are the things that push us, that drive us, that remind us when things happen in the fast, why we're doing what we're doing. So preparing mentally. And then emotionally. You're going to have emotional changes when you get into the fast. In fact, there are going to be emotions that show up that you may have forgotten, or that you may not have realized were there, because we use food as a buffer for a lot of the things that we do. And when we're fasting, we can't grab food anymore. And so we're working in the fast emotionally without a net. And understanding what are the driving factors for your emotions, and putting things in place prior to the fast will help you successfully get through the fast. Once again, the preparation ultimately very important. And then when we prepare for the fast, it allows us to decide and determine what are the milestones that I'm going to see as I move through the fast. When I'm driving, I like to see milestones. Like if I'm driving and I can't tell how far I've gone, however I do that, count the mile markers. I know, like when we come from Nashville, I know what the mile markers are. I could tell where I am. Or when I'm traveling, if I'm going to someplace else, some new place, I'll have this game that I play with myself. But by this time, I should be here. And if I'm not there, then I calculate, what do I need to do to change that or make up the difference in time and whatever. So there are all these games, but those are milestones. Those are markers on the way. And in fasting, you do the same thing. When you prepare, you're like, okay, at 24 hours, this is what's going on in my body, and this is what I should feel. At 36 hours, this is what's going on in my body. This is what I should feel. This is what I should expect. This is right. So you're plotting out your journey through the fast prior to coming into the fast. So it's not just about, okay, fasting now and then we're gone. No. That's not what we want. We want you to prepare because your preparation ultimately will dictate how things go in the fast. And so let's talk about mental preparation. You want to set clear goals, as I said. Understand why you're fasting. Rhythm. Visualize the benefits because this will help push you. Educate yourself on the type of fast. What's going on? What do I need to do for this fast? And of course, those affirmations I said, they elicit help from your inner coach. Because your inner critic is going to tell you, hey, you can't do this. You remember the last time you tried this? It didn't work so well. Yeah, let's not do that this time. But the inner coach gets to use the affirmation and say, no. We're doing this, and we're doing this because we've done this before, or this is the benefit that we're getting. I am improving my health. I'm reversing my diabetes. Whatever the mantra is that you're using, you want to make sure that you're putting that there and you're getting ready. So mental preparation is immensely important. And of course, we talked about nutritional preparation. The things you eat getting into the fast, very important. So what you want to do is you want to start reducing your carbs and your sugars. If we come into the fast with high sugars, the body takes a longer time to get to the place where it can now transition into burning fat. And so we end up spending, say you fast for 24 hours, and it takes your body the whole 24 hours to get into the fast. Then you eat again, you've not done much. So the benefits that we get in the fast ultimately are determined by what we do outside of the fast. You want to increase your healthy fats and increase proteins because those help to keep you satiated, helps to keep you less hungry. You want to determine your specific meal that you will eat before the fast. Oh, and if you've not seen us do that before, join us when we do our check-in. So you get to see exactly what I eat prior to the fast. And then you want to gradually decrease your eating window. So if you're new to fasting, and because we recommend working your way up to a 24-hour fasting each week, once a week, 24 hours. So if you're starting with an 8-hour fast that you do now when you're sleeping, then you increase that to 10 hours, then increase it to 12 hours, then increase it to 14, then 16, then 18, then 20, until you're able to get to the 24-hour period. So gradually do that so that you can get that benefit. All right, that's nutritional preparation. Hydration, you've heard me talk about hydration before. How we hydrate is very important because if we don't do a good job, then the body you will feel lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, all those. That's a consequence of the fact that we don't have enough blood in our body. And that is an issue because the body will have to increase the heart rate and the blood flow, the speed, and people feel that as lightheadedness, dizziness, sweatiness, all those things. So you want to make sure that you are preparing physically, or doing hydration. And then prepare your environment. This is a good one. So clear out temptations. I know there are some things that I can't have around me, so I don't bring them in the house. Because if they're in the house, guess what? I'm going to eat them. Now you can say what you want. Oh, you're weak or you don't have good control. Whatever it is, I choose not to bring it at the house because I know if it's here, when the other emotions come out, when I'm tired, frustrated, depressed, whatever the emotions are, when they come out, the very first thing that's going to be here in my brain is, hey, you know what? We got that stuff in there that makes us feel good. Let's go get it. So clean out your environment. And you see there it says remove unhealthy snacks. And notice that I took out the word unhealthy. Remove snacks. We're getting ready to travel next week. And so I'm at the grocery store and I'm picking up some other things, not even thinking about food right then. And all of a sudden I find that there is in my shopping cart like chips, a bottle of nuts, some Cadbury, yeah. And what am I doing? I'm preparing for snacking. That's what I do. Think about your house, the things that are at your house that you eat, other than your meal. How did they get there? You bought them because you were preparing to snack. That's a whole nother conversation. Okay? You want to create fasting friendly zones. Fasting friendly zones. So this is, keep your kitchen stocked with, notice it says healthy teas, waters, fasting supportive drinks. Prepare distractions. So plan to read, plan to walk, plan meditation, plan something to distract you from hunger. Now, as you get further in the fast, then the hunger will wane. But on those first, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit, in those first several hours, if you're not careful, then you feel hungry. And that's usually a psychological hunger. Right, so preparing for the snack. And then make sure that you are preparing your social and your relational and emotional space. Let your support network know about your fast. At work, my team knows. At home, my family knows. People around me know, and they help me through the process. They don't ask me to eat things. As a matter of fact, they'll remind me. Sometimes I'm like, no, don't tell me that. They'll remind me that I'm fasting. So let use the support network around you. Identify your triggers. Be aware of what those triggers are. Remember that the reason that we eat other than for nutrition is given by our HEAT model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. These are the things that, if we're not careful, will push us in the direction of eating when we're not hungry. The routines we've gotten into. We eat just because it's 12 o'clock. We eat because somebody came over to visit. We eat because we go to the movies. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. And then our emotions. Our emotions. When we get mad enough, sad enough, bored enough, tired enough, frustrated enough, anxious enough, they will push through your desire to not eat. And then access, as we just talked about, just the environment, just things around, because it's there. How many times have you grabbed something to eat and thought to yourself, oh, I wasn't hungry, or I just ate a little while ago. Why am I eating this? Because it's there. And then taste. Taste is a complicated one because the foods that we eat are designed to elicit a response from us. If I am a food creator, a food manufacturer, you know what I want? I want repeat, consistent customers. I don't want you to just eat my food once. I want you to eat it and think to yourself, oh my goodness, I got to get some more of this. And I want you to tell your friends, and them tell their friends, and your family members. I want everybody to come. And so the food has a way of eliciting from us a response that sometimes is counter to what we say we want. The perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat. When we eat it, we say, oh man, I can't just have one. And then join a community. If you are not currently in community, you want to make sure that you join a community. We have a great community here that is growing and that is amazing in its ability to support one another. So come along and join us as we move through this space together. So some tips that I want you to remember. So just some takeaways. Number one, preparation is key. Preparation is key. It determines how you fast and whether you are successful. Number two, prepare mentally, physically, emotionally, and mentally. But as you heard me say before, if I had to pick one, it is the mental preparation that undergirds everything else that we do. Number 3, get rest. Your ability to successfully go through the fast will be greatly enhanced when you are rested. The things you eat matter, so eat dense, nutrient-dense meals, things that support the fast, and then get into community. Ultimately, very important. And so that's preparing for the fast. Now, the fast itself, right? So we talk about preparing for the fast. Now we talk about the fast itself, what's going on in our bodies as we're fasting. And I divide this into several categories. And we usually talk about how we're fasting 24 hours, 48 hours, and then 72 hours. We're going to do it a little bit more finely as we move through our discussion today. So let's go ahead and let's start with the first 6 hours. And the first 6 hours technically is not considered fasting. It's actually called the postprandial period. This is the time when the body is sorting the food that you've just eaten. It has it's kind of like going to the grocery store and you come home and you got all the stuff in your cart or in your car. You bring them in the house and you start putting things in the cabinets, things in the pantry, things in the refrigerator. You put some stuff in the bathroom, right? What you're doing is you're taking the stuff that you got and you're sorting it into its places that it needs to go. And that's what the body does in the postprandial period. The body is breaking down, it's processing. Blood sugars are elevated because typically there are some carbs in the stuff we eat. Insulin levels are high because those two go together. The body is processing this, is digesting it, is absorbing it. Your energy levels are high because sugar is an energy to the body. And then it begins to kind of wane. Right? So postprandial period, the first 6 hours, 0 to 6 hours. And then the next 6 hours, 6 to 12 hours, is called the early fasting stage. Right? Here, insulin levels are starting to drop because the body is now using up some of the energy, that sugar that you ate. Glucagon is coming out because insulin and glucagon are going opposite directions. Insulin says, hey, I need to store. And when blood sugars go down, insulin says, I don't need to be here anymore, and glucagon comes out. And glucagon's job is now to go back to where the stores were and pull them out. It's kind of like you coming home and you take all your stuff and you put it in the cabinets and the refrigerator and so forth, and now you decide you're going to cook. Well, now you have to go back to the pantry, get some food out, to the refrigerator, get something out, right? So what you're doing is you're gathering now the things you're going to use to cook. And that's what's going on. The early fasting stage. We've already put it up, but now we're pulling it back out. Glycogenolysis is happening. So this is breaking down the glycogen that's in the liver. So we've used up the sugar that's in the blood, and this is if you're not eating, right? Because that blood sugar is going to continually go down. Now, some people will say, hey, I haven't eaten for 6 hours or even 12 hours, and my blood sugar is still high. That has a direct result. That's a direct result of what the blood sugars were when you came into the fast. Remember, the body has to use up the sugar. It has to store the sugar before it even gets to the liver to begin breaking down the stuff that's in the liver. So if your blood sugar is high coming into the fast, then it may take a while for that sugar to go away. Okay, so glycogenolysis is going on. And then energy levels begin to fluctuate. Because remember, sugar, glucose, is an immediate source of energy, but it is not very stable because it fluctuates. And so when you get into the early fasting stage, then the blood sugars begin to drop, and sometimes people will feel that. One of the places where your energy from resting makes a big impact, because if the blood sugars start to drop because you're not eating, people feel that because they're not rested anyway, and they say, oh, fasting is bad for me because I'm not feeling well. And that is not the case. Okay? And we're going to pop over here for just a minute. All right, so we don't want to be in that space. Fasting is not the thing that's causing that. Okay? And so when we are talking about fasting, when we're talking about doing this, we want to make sure that we're doing all that we can for for our health. Hold on a second. All right. And so then we move into the next phase of our fasting, and this is the 12 to 18 hour. And so our physical state at this point is that our insulin levels are decreasing significantly. Right? So we're transitioning to fat at this point. And so the glucose levels have continued to go down. Then the body says, hey, I need to now start finding additional spaces where my energy is going to come from. And so the body now is going to the fat cells and it's now breaking down fat and is producing, in this case, we're getting ketones coming out now. Right? The liver is starting gluconeogenesis, which is making sugar from non-carb sources. So now we're taking triglycerides, we're breaking them apart. The fatty liver part is going off to create ketones, and the glycerol is now going to make sugar. And energy levels may begin to dip even further, and people may get irritable, right? They may feel like their hunger is rising. All that's going on as we're shifting sources of energy at this point. And then after the 18 now, or after this phase, then we get into our 18 to transition to 24 hour, and this is our ketone. So ketosis is going on. Now, ketosis has started a little earlier, depending on what's going on in terms of your meal and your blood sugars, but ketosis is in full effect here at this point because your body is in the process of burning fat. Beta oxidation is going on, and we get a lot of the things we talk about in terms of benefit of fasting. Oh yeah, here it is, right? So glycogen stores are gone. So the liver is now used up all the stuff that's in there. So it takes 24 to 36 hours, depending on what you've eaten. The body is now burning fat, and so we've got ketone. So beta hydroxybutyrate, which is one of the ketones that we love, is happening. Autophagy, the body's cellular cleanup process is starting to ramp up and really take effect. This is where the body's going out and taking broken, damaged, unused cells and processing them and making them supercharged. We get better, faster, more efficient mitochondria. And remember, mitochondria are those powerhouse, those are those batteries that are in the cells that give us energy. This is where people begin talking now about the benefits on neuropathy. And we start to see benefits of inflammation. So our inflammation is going down. Our immunity is going up. The body is now doing more to heal. So the healing process is going on. So moving from hunger to healing. We talked about that in one of our shows recently. So we want to make sure that we are getting into this space as quickly as possible, and that is determined by, of course, how we prepare for the fast. So ketosis is going on. And then the next phase, 24 to 30 hours, fat adaptation. So we are now significantly in fasting. Ketones are high. Ketones are being produced. Insulin levels down because in order for ketones to come, we got to get rid of insulin. Fat oxidation is increasing. That's the breaking down of the fat. Energy levels become more stable because now we're not using the volatile sugar as energy. We're using fat, and we have ample amounts of fat to convert to ketones. So we are now, I kind of liken this to, I love the Iron Man movies. When Tony Stark takes out the arc reactor and he puts the new one in and he gets that that energy, oh yeah, that's it right there. So fat adaptation is going on at this space. And so we want to move through this process as judiciously as possible. We don't want any delay here. And so when we prepare for the fast, we are setting ourselves up ultimately in the fast to get to where we need to be. And of course, some of the same things that we talk about with preparation, we want to make sure that we're rested, we want to make sure that we are hydrated, we want to make sure that we are dealing with our stress, right? Because all those things can push us off track. And we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for the best possibility of success. And so preparing for the fast is important. That's what's going on in our body as we get through the fast. Very important. And then how do we break the fast? And for this, I'm going to grab something here really quickly. Let's go to view. And you get to see what we are eating for the first time in 72 hours. Here we are. And so here is our salad. And let's talk a little bit about our fasting, and then we'll come back to the salad. But here it is. So you get to see my salad. All right. So when we talk about fasting, we talk about breaking the fast. How we end the fast is very important. All right. Some tips. Right. You want to monitor blood sugars, and that's important because you want to see what's going on in your body with the food that you're eating. What's going in your body with the rests that you're eating, because that has a big impact on the fast itself. What you end the fast with, in terms of food, will dictate what happens to you over the next 24 to 36 hours. Because the things that you eat have a signal that they send to your body. And if your signal is, hey, there's a lot of carbs, a lot of sugar here, the body increases our insulin level, and insulin causes weight gain, causes appetite to go up, causes those cravings, causes us to retain fluid, causes storage. And that is really not what we want. Okay? So we want to make sure that we're doing a good job. So monitor blood sugars, portion control. When you eat, sometimes it's not really that you are eating the wrong thing, is you're eating too much of the thing. Like I can eat enough broccoli to cause my blood sugar to go up to 200. Well, not just me. That you can eat enough broccoli to cause that to happen. But broccoli is healthy. Yes, it is, but anything in excess causes a problem. So monitor, portion control. Eat slowly. It takes about 20 minutes for your signal to go from your stomach to your brain that you're full. And if you're not careful, a lot of times we eat so quickly that the signal doesn't get there. We end up eating 2 to 3 times more than we should. So eat slowly. And then avoid sugary processed foods. Avoid sugary, highly processed foods. Because once again, the insulin spike, the blood sugar spike goes up, the insulin comes out, and once the insulin is there, it will cause downstream issues for us. Make sure you're hydrated. Hydration, very important, because if you are not hydrated, you will still feel some of the symptoms: lightheadedness, dizziness, sweatiness, feel as though you're weak and tired. Water, always a good place. Coconut water, another good hydrator. Make sure it's unsweetened so you don't get those spikes. Herbal teas, right? So non-caffeinated would be great because we don't want to all of a sudden cause a big stimulation. All of those are good places to be in. And then protein. Make sure that you are eating enough protein. The protein will help to satiate you and help you not to eat as much initially. I shouldn't say initially. It will help keep you satisfied. So things like eggs, chicken, turkey breast. If you're vegetarian or vegan, tofu or tempeh. Just make sure that you're getting good protein in. And then, of course, healthy fats. Healthy fats, avocados, nuts, seeds. Well, both proteins and fats will slow the GI tract. The protein, when you eat that, you get something called protein YY. And when you eat the fats, it releases something called cholecystokinin, which will help to slow the GI tract down, which will help you feel as though you're full longer. Okay? And then, of course, broths. And you've seen me probably break my fast with broths before. Chicken broth, vegetable broth, beef broth, any of that is good. It doesn't have a lot of calories, but it has enough fat that will help to blunt the hunger. And also, it will help to hydrate you. Right? So both of those. And then, just some takeaways, some comments, some things that you should consider when you're talking about fasting. When you break a fast, you want to choose foods that help maintain stable blood sugars, still giving you good nutrition, and that are gentle on the stomach. Because remember, when you're fasting, your GI tract has slowed down. And some of those cells, which are the protective cells, are not producing the protective coat anymore. And so when you eat, they have to ramp up. And if you don't do a good job of that, particularly if you're doing some of the longer fasts, then you can have increased elimination, nausea, bloating, and so forth. And when we're eating, we want to focus on low glycemic index foods. That's glycemic index less than 50 or 50 or less. Lean protein, as we just talked about. Healthy fats, as we talked about. You want to make sure that you are hydrated. Okay? And so those are the ways that we want to break the fast. Now, if we think about that conversation, then we're really talking about balanced bites. Right? The foods that we eat should be in keeping with our concept of balanced bites. So let's go ahead now and let's take a look at what I am eating. And here it is. All right, so it's a salad, and I usually start with a salad. So if you know, let me get this plate straight. If you know anything about my fasting and what we do, and what I recommend is that I use a salad because the salad gives me bulk. The salad allows me to eat, and the bulk gives my stomach stretch, which increases my leptin, decreases my ghrelin, and helps my leptin to say, hey, you're not hungry. So I get the bulk. Then the rest of the plate is in keeping with my balanced bites idea. So let's walk through that together. So balanced bites. So this is a salad that I created here at home, and everything in here was done here. The cheese, of course, is not done, and the salad dressing, which we'll see in a minute. But there's some down below. This is not regular lettuce that I have. This is a coleslaw mix that my wife got. And we've got black beans. We've got some garbanzo beans or chickpeas that are under there. We've got some red onions, cucumbers. We've got tomatoes. We've got, and this is jerk chicken that I made. So we got a chicken, and we seasoned it, and we smoked it, we jerked it, and there it is right there. Okay? Now, and so balance, let's walk through that. So whole foods, right? So everything here, whole foods except for, of course, the cheese and the dressing, which you'll see me put on there in just a minute. Minimized processing. Once again, the cheese and the dressing are the processed things that you have. Now, I have to say that the beans came out of a can, right? The garbanzo beans and the black beans came out of a can. So there is some processing there as well. What else? So that's the processing. So sugar, no added sugar. And aside from the dressing, which you'll see in a minute, no added sugar here. Lean protein, there's my chicken, right? Healthy fats, the feta cheese is healthy fat. And the chicken, not a lot of fat in the chicken. Lean protein, healthy fats. Portion control, yeah, this looks portion control, and it has to be tasty. Well, yeah, this is gonna be tasty. It looks tasty. I made it, and the jerk chicken is. So if you want the jerk chicken recipe, go to our website. You can download our cookbook there. If you want the recipe for this, right, I'll create something and put it up somewhere, right? So this right here. Okay, and so let's talk about the dressing. So the dressing. So here in town, there is a restaurant that makes a dressing that I love. They have a Caesar dressing and they have a horseradish dressing. And so what I did was I combined some of that. I also have from here in the house, I've got some balsamic vinaigrette dressing that I put in there. And then one of our community members talked to me a little while ago about a dressing for a salad that we've used in the past to break our fast. And so I mixed that up, and that's what I'm using as my dressing right here, okay? So, and that is also processed. There we go. All right, so you're gonna get to see what I'm eating for the very first time in 72 hours. Here it is, that's my salad. That's my thing, okay? Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and get some of this. Oh yeah. Delicious. And do one thing here really quickly. Oh, yep. So delicious, delicious, delicious. Did I say delicious? So if you're breaking your fast with us right now, go ahead and drop in the chat, or send us a message. Well, send us a picture. I've been asking you guys to send a picture of what you've been eating. We got some pictures that we'll share at some point. And Cornelia says it looks delicious. And Cornelia, it is. Yep. And that dressing adds just enough. And what I like about this, okay, let me go back to this view. What I like about this is I love textures. It's not what we're looking for. There we go. I love textures. I love different textures in foods. And so this has it's a smorgasbord of textures and flavors, and there's the crunch. Yep. The horseradish dressing with the Caesar. I got the crunch of the cabbage, the softness of the garbanzo beans and the black beans, and the flavor of the red onions. Oh my goodness. And all healthy. Delicious. And I haven't even eaten any of the chicken yet. So your meals, other than fasting, should also conform to Balanced Bites. Right? So Balanced Bites is not this is my fasting meal food, list. It is how do we eat? How do we think about food generally? Okay? And so that's what we're looking for. Very good. So that's, there you are. All right, so let's talk a little bit. So our goal, and as you heard me say, everything I do, we're teaching based on the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate you with the blogs, the podcasts, the shows that we do. We empower with the tools that we're learning. All the tools, Balanced Bites, the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, the HEAT model, the COPE model. All of those are designed to help you implement the things that we're learning when we talk about education. And then the community that we're part of, amazing community that we're growing, that we're developing, that is there to support and push you forward and to help you be successful long term. Remember, we're not looking for short term. Now, we're looking for you to change short term, but we're looking for how is this going to be consistent over time? And that is supercharged with community. So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. And so I encourage you, when you come, when you're here in this space, I want you to let us know what's going on. Let us know the successes that you're having. Let us know the places where you're having some challenges. And when we do that, we are enriching the community. The community gets better when we all are involved. And because we are a community, that means that when you get benefit, when you see something working for you, you can't keep it to yourself. You've got to tell your family and your friends and your cousin and them and the people at your job and at your church and your community center and your neighbors. We are in the process of improving not just our lives, but improving the lives of those around us. And that's where we are. That's what Limitless Living says. We encourage you. Every week, we go through a fast. Come join us. We start our fast on Tuesdays. We go through Fridays. We do a complete review of fasting as we do right here in our fast. And actually, I need to do something here really quickly. So give me just a second, y'all. In our fast, here we are. All right, there we are. So make sure you join us in the fast. We do that once a week. Everything on the channel, everything is designed to allow you to just plug in and to come along with us. The 100-day walk to consistency and health, the strength, strategy, and mindset that we're doing right now. We're on day 95, by the way. The fasting check-ins that we do, the show that we do, all of that is with the intention of giving you space so you can come along and begin doing the things with us as we walk through the space. If you are tired of being on that roller coaster, or tired of being starting and stopping and not being consistent, go ahead and join us in our accelerator program. You can find that out on the YouTube channel. And we'll go from there. All right, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. We educate, we empower, and we encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Now go live a limitless life, and we'll see you for our check-in later this week. Dwain Woode, MD, on Monday at 7 p.m. Central, right here on Dwain Woode, MD Live. All right, everybody, have a great weekend.